North Korean troops have been sent to Russia's front line with Ukraine.
Fighting not just Russia, but North Korea directly.
North Korean troops have
to help Russia fight Ukraine.
Earlier this month,
North Korea's bold move breaking news. North Korea has shocked the world by stepping out of the shadows and into the spotlight of the Ukraine war. Thousands of its elite soldiers are now fighting alongside Russia in a move that has experts and nations alike scrambling for answers. But this isn't just a military decision. This is a high-stakes chess move in a game where every player's next step could tip the global balance of power. Why would one of the most secretive countries in the world get involved in a conflict so far from its borders? What's the real story behind this bold move? And most importantly, what does this mean for the rest of us, China, the US, and beyond? Stay with us, because the answers might not be what you expect. This is more than just a battlefield story. It's a geopolitical thriller unfolding right before our eyes, and every twist could reshape the future, the complex reality of deploying North Korean troops. First, let's remember that involving a country like North Korea, super isolated and secretive, isn't simple. You don't just send troops to the battlefield, and that's it. This partnership between Russia and North Korea comes with significant challenges. For starters, communication is a major issue. The North Koreans' language and culture are entirely different from the Russians. Imagine the complications. Russian soldiers are now working side by side with North Koreans, and things aren't going smoothly. In fact, leaked audio recordings reveal Russian soldiers complaining about their new North Korean colleagues. Managing these troops is proving inefficient. Every group of 30 North Korean soldiers requires 1 interpreter and 3 officers. This inefficiency is frustrating the Russians on the ground. China's uncomfortable position. If you think this situation is already complicated, wait until you hear who else is upset. China. Despite being a longtime ally of North Korea, this alliance with Russia puts China in a tough spot. China has always viewed North Korea as a strategic buffer zone, a shield against US-aligned countries like South Korea and Japan. Additionally, North Korea acts as a barrier against American military presence in Asia. If Kim Jong-un's regime collapses, it could lead to a reunified Korean peninsula under South Korea with American troops. Strategic and economic dependencies. China's relationship with North Korea is both strategic and economic. For decades, North Korea has served as a buffer against US-aligned nations like South Korea and Japan, playing a crucial role in China's regional strategy. Economically, North Korea depends on China for essentials like food and fuel, while China uses this dependency to maintain influence over Kim Jong-un's regime. However, North Korea's involvement in the Ukraine war threatens this delicate balance. By sending troops to aid Russia, Pyongyang risks stepping beyond Beijing's control, a scenario Xi Jinping wants to avoid. Losing influence over North Korea could destabilize the region, threaten China's borders, and undermine its strategic positioning. For Xi Jinping, this is a critical moment. Managing this complex relationship while safeguarding China's interests is a high-stakes challenge that could shape the region's future. The BRICS summit and Xi Jinping's warning. During the recent BRICS summit, Xi Jinping issued a direct and unmistakable warning to Putin. Escalating the conflict to include countries like North Korea is a step too far. This rare public call for de-escalation from the usually discreet Chinese government underscores the gravity of the situation. China is adamant that the war must remain contained within Ukraine and Russia. However, North Korea's involvement complicates this stance, putting Beijing in an increasingly precarious position. If China fails to act, it risks being perceived as complicit in the conflict, a perception that could have far-reaching consequences for its global standing and diplomatic relationships. The pressure on Beijing is mounting, and Xi Jinping must navigate these challenges with extreme caution to avoid deepening the conflict or damaging China's strategic interests. Geopolitical consequences and Western reactions. China's already precarious position becomes even more complicated when factoring in its substantial commercial ties with the West. With billions of dollars in trade on the line, Beijing risks severe economic fallout if it is seen as supporting Russia's war efforts. Meanwhile, China cannot afford to alienate its key economic partners. The global markets are watching Beijing's moves closely, and any perception of alignment with Russia could lead to sanctions, trade disruptions, or long-term damage to its economic ambitions. But the stakes go beyond economics. The involvement of US allies like South Korea and Japan in bolstering Ukraine's defenses further escalates regional tensions. The White House's recent declaration that North Korean soldiers in Ukraine will be treated as legitimate military targets has added a dangerous layer of potential conflict. Any direct military action could set off a chain reaction, pulling more nations into the fray. For Xi Jinping, the stakes couldn't be higher. Any misstep could unravel years of careful diplomacy and economic growth. His decisions in the coming months will not only shape the outcome of the Ukraine war, but also influence the balance of power in Asia and the broader global order. The question remains, can China maintain its balancing act, or is the world inching closer to a broader, more devastating conflict? This is a turning point not just for China, but for the entire world. The choices made now will define the trajectory of geopolitics for years to come.